Welcome to Beyond Rockets. Hope you're having a great day. My name is Clark Dunn and I'm your host. Get ready to enjoy some awesome conversations from Huntsville locals about cool work they are doing right here in the Rocket City. You can connect with us on social media at Beyond Rockets, and if you're interested in doing a podcast yourself, I'd love to hear from you. You can visit my website, beyondrockets.com today, or connect with me on LinkedIn at Clark Dunn. Sit back and enjoy this episode of Beyond Rockets.
Everything I liked except the way she talked to me every day.
This episode is sponsored by Yellowhammer Brewing. Yellowhammer is a local craft brewery serving Huntsville for the past 14 years. They are known for their premium craft beers like their T-Minus and Rebellion, but what you might not know is they also offer spirits, wine, seltzers, and non-alcoholic drinks. Next time you stop by their location, try one of their seasonal cocktails made with the Gemini Bourbon or the Yellowhammer Vodka, or try this year's big hit Pineapple Punch Seltzer. You can find out more information about Yellowhammer Brewery by visiting their website, yellowhammerbrewery.com, or visiting their tap room located at Campus 805. Well, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to kind of learn a little bit more about the new business that y'all have started that is pretty popular now in downtown Huntsville. But for those that maybe to kind of get us started, would you like to introduce yourself and we'll kind of get started there?
Yeah, so I am Emily Jones and I am the owner of the Dirty Olive, Huntsville's newest bar and lounge downtown. It's definitely blown up the past couple months. We did not expect it to be so popular, it's just been a great surprise.
And y'all started this before you had the brick and mortar. You had a mobile cart. Talk about the initial, take us back to prior to even the mobile cart. When did this idea to kind of get into the small business scene happen? This idea for the Dirty Olive, kind of, where was it born?
It all started on a Sunday afternoon in October of last year, so October of 2024. And we had been out with friends that weekend, hanging out, and I was just feeling like, okay, I want to do something different with my life right now. I started out as a nurse. I went to UAH, got my bachelor's there, and been a registered nurse for a few years, and I was just tired of doing the 9 to 5. And my husband Max was like, hey, we found this little tap trailer on Instagram. We were just sitting on the couch that one day, and I was like, I want nothing to do with that. I don't want to do that. Yeah. And the next thing you know, by Tuesday, the deposit had been put down on the trailer, and he was like, you're going to do this. And I was like, okay, I'll go for it.
So how did y'all kind of get the word out early on with the trailer? What were sort of the events that you were going to, and kind of how did you build the popularity to eventually, in February, take over where OTBX was and open the Dirty Olive?
Yeah, so really social media is just how we started out. I don't think we told anybody, not even my parents, about the tap trailer until mid-November.
Okay.
When we went up to I think it was Virginia, and we picked up the tap trailer. Wow. We had to drive up there, Max's truck, drove up there one day. And I mean, it was just a great adventure, just him and I, and we brought our dog Luna with us. And so that was fun, but we had it custom built, and we just got the word out on social media and then took it around to places, around on Thanksgiving. And the day after Thanksgiving, we went out to Gunnersville where our friends live, and we filled it up with margaritas and a keg, and we just kind of threw a little party. Yeah. It took a lot of videos and photos then, and we were able to use that as social media content after that. December, we were booked with events. We had grand openings, Christmas tree lightings, Christmas parties.
Wow.
January, we had some house parties. And then we were like, okay, this has taken off. Yeah. We didn't think that it would be that popular. We just thought that it'd be a fun
thing to do.
Yeah.
Maybe eventually it gets to a point that it kind of offsets, not working as a nurse, and it becomes more of a flexible schedule and all the things that go along with it, all the good things. And not that the expansion and the growth wasn't good, but it was definitely kind of a whirlwind as the beginning of this year started.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it didn't take long. When did the moment come where you were like, maybe we should have a brick and mortar?
I mean, from the beginning, we were always kind of thinking, oh, it'd be fun to have a brick and mortar one day if this thing really took off. And then it seems fast forward to January, that was becoming reality.
Yeah.
And it became reality so quick, just a few months after we got the tap trailer in our hands and got the keys to it. And so it's been a whirlwind. It's been great. I've never owned a small business, so this has been a learning experience. My husband Max has been wonderful because he has leadership experience in his full-time day job right now. And so he's been able to help me like manage our team and figure out what
Yeah.
I do well and maybe what I need to improve on. And so it's been great to work with him. Of course, my family's been wonderful too. They've been
Yeah.
a great help.
So did you jump in full time with this?
Yeah.
Like as soon as you got the trailer, or is it the first of the year
So
started going full time?
I left my full-time job mid-March, and March 20th was like our little VIP night for the Dirty Olive, and then March 27th kicked off the soft opening before our like big grand opening weekend, the first weekend in April. And so I was like, I just can't balance both. I was doing healthcare consulting. That was just like a normal 9 to 5, working from home, which was wonderful, but I still didn't have the time that I wanted to dedicate to the brick and mortar. And so we decided we're going to take a risk, and I could leave my job. Max would keep on working his, and I would just manage this thing 24/7.
Yeah. I mean, and getting the space in February to then opening like, what was that? Was it just every hour of the day you were spending there, weekends, just trying to because there wasn't I mean, y'all have done a lot to change the space. Like
Yeah.
if you had ever been to OTBX before, it kind of there's spots where I'm like, okay, like I remember what that was at OTBX, or I remember but like overall, like the aesthetic is completely different.
Yeah.
Was it a tough build out process, or did it kind of happen where you were able to, you kind of already had this vision in mind of what you wanted the space to look like, and so as soon as you got the keys, you were off to the races?
Yeah, that's exactly how it went. We and our really good friends owned OTBX before we took over, and so we would go in there and just kind of brainstorm in the evenings, and I literally had all the furniture picked out, all the art purchased and everything. So by the time we got the keys, it was just go time.
Yeah.
And we didn't look back.
Wow.
And that's one thing that I'm so thankful for. Of course, in the moment, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed out. But I'm so glad that we never paused for a second, because I think fear would have stopped us from progressing.
And then I remember seeing the kind of the hustle of things happening and kind of wondering, I wonder what this is going to be. I wonder what this is going to be. And then it was like a slow little casual opening. There was no sign up yet, but y'all were open, but no one really knew you were open. But one of the things that really drew, I think, probably the popularity of the Dirty Olive early on was the influencers that you had come in and create content. Talk a little bit about that process of, sourcing the people that you did and then creating that sort of initial hype with using their social media platform that they've created to garner the attention of Huntsville.
Yeah, I really wanted social media to be talking all about it. And I definitely think that we succeeded with that. I wanted to get people excited. I wanted to give out little hints of what was happening. And I mean, you're exactly right. Nobody knew what was going on. They were like, wait, OTBX closed. What's happening?
The sign's gone. What's happening? But there's no new sign.
Yeah.
And I think it's a restaurant. I think, or maybe it's just a bar. It's there's so many questions of, because it's a part of downtown that is slowly growing in popularity. SIP has been there for a while. OTBX was there for a long time.
Yeah.
But now with new developments, the restaurants, 111 around the corner, that area is becoming much more popular. And you've probably seen it over the last few months.
Yeah, and we're really excited to be a part of that growth. SIP has been so supportive of us. Their bartenders, Briscoe, everybody there is amazing. Razu Pizzeria, Heidi and her husband, they've been amazing. 111, we're so excited to have them in the neighborhood. It's just bringing so much business down that side of Huntsville, of downtown Huntsville, that's not just on the square. And so there's more parts to downtown than just being on Jefferson Street or around the square. And we're excited to be over there and part of the hustle and bustle. But yeah, the influencers were... I just sent out a bunch of messages and I was like, hey, we're having this big launch party. We'd love for you to come. And I sent out physical invites to everybody because I wanted them to get that special personalized touch.
Yeah.
And we had swag bags that we gave away to everybody. And
That's cool.
I think that was well worth it.
Yeah.
Absolutely everything that we poured into that night, because it helped get our name out there and let people know that we were there and open for business.
I mean, and I think that, the clientele of SIP is similar clientele of the Dirty Olive. So I think both of y'all being in close proximity to each other, if people show up to the Dirty Olive and it's packed and it's just a busy, busy night. Maybe I go over to Sip and have a drink.
Yeah.
Or maybe I go to Sip and it's packed. Well, maybe I'll go to the Dirty Olive and have a drink.
That's exactly what happens.
And so it's an interesting, but for those that maybe are listening or watching that haven't ever been to the Dirty Olive, it kind of describe the space, describe the menu, and what people can expect when they come in the doors.
Yeah, so we're like an upscale neighborhood bar. That's what we like to call ourselves. We're not trying to be like a super bougie cocktail lounge or anything. We just want to be an elevated neighborhood bar where you can come in, we'll remember your name, we'll remember your face, we'll remember your dog's name if you walk by every single day. And so our menu consists of beer, wine, liquor. We have cocktails on tap. That's kind of our big thing. So whenever we started the tap trailer, we got really familiar with working with kegs, like beer kegs, wine kegs, all that. We didn't realize that you could do like cocktails in a keg. And so through having the tap trailer, now that we have the brick and mortar, we were like, oh yeah, let's do cocktails on tap. And I think people gets a bad rap because people are like, oh, like we don't know when you made this. We don't know where you made this. And like they're made fresh daily. And we worked really hard to create the recipes. I mean, classic cocktails like lemon drop, cosmopolitan, old fashioned, espresso martini. Everybody's really been impressed with the menu. And I think that that's been so reassuring because we weren't sure how people would take to the cocktails on tap aspect. But it's been wonderful. We have the wine on tap too. Of course, our red wine we still serve in the bottles because I didn't want that to be chilled. But everything has just been amazing. We have 32 taps, and so we're still trying to fill all of those up. We have about 10 beers on tap right now, several wines, and then about 10 to 12 cocktails, but we can still make stuff by hand too.
Wow. And it is such a, I remember walking in for the first time and just every element and every corner of the bar and of the space itself is photogenic. There's a spot to take and that's what I noticed too from the influencers when you had them in their content. It was like I remember seeing this wall, and it's like as we walked in, it's like, oh, this is where they shot this video. So it's like I think that is one of the cool things too. Is as we were there, I mean, it was early on that we came in April, so early in the opening process, but the amount of people that were there that were just taking photos and grabbing like the popularity of the space itself garners a lot of attention from people because it just looks pretty. Like it's a pretty space to be in. Have you kind of like, what has been the feedback that you've gotten from the public, the neighborhood, since you're kind of like acting as that higher end neighborhood bar? What have you kind of seen from the response? Like what are things people have really enjoyed? And what are things that you thought maybe people are going to really enjoy this, but it didn't really work the way that you wanted to?
Mm-hmm. So one thing that we've tried that we're still trying to figure out, honestly, is whether or not we have the capacity to do table service. And so whenever people walk into a bar and they go sit down, sometimes they expect a waiter or cocktail server to come up and wait on them. So that's something that's still in the works that in the beginning we were like, okay, it'll just be like bar service only right now. And so that's kind of like a 50-50 right now. That's one thing that I thought people might like is the freedom of that. But then other people, I think the older generations enjoy having a cocktail server come to their table and wait on them.
Yeah.
And so we do still provide some table service, but I mean, the whole experience has been just a learning experience overall because we can, we can go do table service for a big group if they come in, but then if you and your friends, 50 of your friends come in, you can all just hang out up at the bar and stand around and talk.
Yeah.
So we, I mean, with the neighborhood bar feel, like that's what we want to be. And, being photogenic, it kind of takes me back to my bachelorette party in Scottsdale, Arizona, because that's where I drew a lot of my inspiration from, like, the pictures on the walls to the curtains to like the cocktails on tap, the wine on tap. Scottsdale was so photogenic, and that's one thing that I always remember is like, oh, this bar was so cute. Oh, I wanted to go take a picture here, and we took pictures, and so I think that having a photogenic space, and that brings people in too, because they know, oh, like this is the place that so and so is at, or this is the place, like you can look at our wall that literally says this must be the place, and you're like, okay, like I know what this is, I know where it is.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, when opening the brick and mortar, you still have the trailer. So talk a little bit about kind of what the business now, I mean, obviously you're still in the first few months, so you're still trying to figure things out and figure out the direction you want to go. But what does it look like now as far as, the coming in, like just having a cocktail at the bar or with a group of friends, to the trailer, to even event rental space?
Yeah, so we've already hosted a lot of events too at our brick and mortar, and then we're still getting inquiries every single day for the tap trailer, whether it's for weddings or company picnics. We've done a few grand openings, so that's been really fun. We can do like Prosecco on tap, and so it makes it super easy, especially for outdoor events or even indoor events. We had one the other day, and we pulled the tap trailer up on their like sidewalk area
Wow.
in front of their business, so guests could get a drink before they walk
And does
into
like
the event.
with the tap trailer, is it you work with the whoever's hiring y'all for the event to kind of curate what they're going to have on draft?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It's totally customizable. So if they have a certain beer that they want, if it's a wedding and they want to do a bride's signature drink and a groom's signature drink, we could do that. We could do wine. We could do bottle service also if they just want to have Prosecco in bottles and red and white wine in bottles. But the tap trailer is really cool just because it's so versatile and you don't need electricity for it. So you could literally set it up anywhere.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so, I mean, with having the space, managing people, having the trailer, managing events, what does a typical day look like for you? Is every day a little different? Is there things that you try to do every day that kind of have some routine, or do you like that the ability just to kind of do whatever needs to be done that day?
So I definitely thrive on routine, and I'm still trying to get into a routine, even a few months into this. It's like I said, it's just been a total 180 from the whole nursing world that I was in. And I've definitely learned the things that I'm good at, the things that I need to improve on. But I think that waking up early and just having like a slow morning and knowing what I need to get done that day by making a to-do list, taking a few minutes to myself, and thinking about how to be intentional, how to make today like the most successful that it could be. And I mean, that includes like payroll, that includes, I mean, making sure that the cocktail kegs are full, making sure that the place is clean and everybody has everything that they need to succeed that shift. So it's still a work in progress, but it's fun to figure out.
Yeah. I mean, and it is such a, from managing people to like, obviously prior to it, you hadn't really had that experience. And then all the different things you have to do as a business owner, the hats you wear. I mean, you're doing payroll, but you're also like, probably need to have some of it outsourced so that I make sure everything is, I've dotted my I's and crossed my T's, and all the things that kind of go along with it. I mean, it's incredible. Is there any advice that you would give to somebody that's maybe listening that has this idea, has an idea to do something? They have a 9-to-5. They've kind of built this routine, but they're wanting something that's not so routine. They want to have a little bit of the freedom and the flexibility, but they have this idea. What advice would you give them?
So find what you're passionate in. And I mean, one thing for me is I love the aesthetics of the space and I love to decorate and do the social media. And so I know that I thrive on that aspect of the business, but maybe not so much in other aspects. And that's where I've definitely leaned on other people to mentor me and guide me. And don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't let fear hold you back. Don't let anybody tell you that you're not capable of doing something. If you think that you can do it and you can succeed at it, you should absolutely go. And
And so for those that are, we've talked a lot about the location of where it is, old OTBX, right around the corner from SIP, across the street from DGX. What are their hours of operation? Where can people connect with you on social media? What's your handles? What's the best places to reach out for the trailer or whatever it might be?
Yeah, so our website is thedirtyolivetap.com. You can go on there, inquire about event rentals for the brick and mortar and for the tap trailer. Right now we're open 7 days a week. We're still trying to figure out if we're going to keep on doing that. Sometimes Sundays and Mondays can be a little bit slower, so we're either going to incorporate some daily specials or we may just end up closing for one day just to give everybody on staff a good break. But right now we open at 3:00 every single day.
Okay.
So Sunday through Thursday, we close at 10-ish. We'll stay open later if people are in there and having fun. And then Friday and Saturday, we're open till midnight.
Wow. And so we'll be sure to have everything in the episode notes, links to all the website, social media channels and all of that. But I appreciate you being here. I think this is obviously this new this new thing that you've started. And so it's exciting to see the growth that you've had in the few short months. We'll have to have you back on in a few years and just see how the business is doing and kind of what maybe areas in which you've pivoted to change, but you've offered something that, is super unique that no one ever thought, and it's been a huge hit. But I appreciate you being here today.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm excited to see where we go.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Beyond Rockets. Don't forget you can subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen and on YouTube at Beyond Rockets. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Beyond Rockets to stay up to date with new episodes as they are released. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed.